The following podcast contains spoilers for Mr. Right. You have been warned.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your host, Glenjamin Borden, along with your host, Miguel Magusto.
Two hosts? What's up with that?
That's crazy.
What's up with that?
The duo trouble.
Yeah, that was a terrible attempt at a Seinfeld impression.
Is that what that... What is up with these duos?
Airline penis, what's up with that?
Airline penis?
Peanuts. Peanuts.
Okay.
Sorry, that's my southeastern Pennsylvanian accent coming back to haunt me. How you doing?
I'm not doing bad. Mike, listen. You know I'm terrible at watching movies, right?
It's true.
Like, in my free time. I just don't do it. And I know what you're saying. Glenn, you're kind of a movie critic. Shut up. Get away from me. I want you to guess how many I watched this week, knowing that I'm terrible.
Knowing that you're terrible. I know you watched at least one, because it was we had to for this podcast. We would not be recording if you didn't watch at least one. I'm going to be optimistic and say 4, inclung Mr. Ray.
So a total of 5. Not bad. What if I told you 7.5?
Including Mr. Ray. 7.5?
7.5.
So you watched half a movie. What was the half a movie? I'm interested in what you were just like, this isn't worth my time.
Well, it was more of like, hey, I just fell asleep in the middle of it.
Oh, okay.
The Sisters Brothers was the half.
Oh, okay.
So I gotta pick up the other half of that soon.
Joaquin Phoenix and John C. Reilly as brothers with the last name Sisters.
Yes,
or
sir.
Sister. Yeah, I saw that when it was in theaters a couple years ago. I think it was 2000.
Was it a year ago or 2 years ago?
I think it was 2018 it came out.
Jeez. Time flies, man. Because I remember being in Virginia when it was released.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was 2007 or 2018. I saw it at the AMC in Neshaminy Mall.
Yeah.
I saw a couple movies that day, and that was the last one I watched.
Okay.
What'd you think of that? Or what'd you think of what you watched of it?
Honestly, I wasn't really into it as far as... That's probably why I fell asleep, but
yeah.
I should watch the whole thing over and give it another chance, considering I was a sleepy boy when I watched it.
I will say this. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie, but it was a bit of a letdown because I expected more from it. But I do think you should give it a second chance, or at least fast forward, to what you remember and then watch from then on.
Yeah.
But it is a decent movie. It's just I feel it could have been a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, this week was really weird for me for movies. It was basically kind of an accidental Scarlett Johansson and John C. Reilly week. The first movie I watched, which has neither of them, is Lady Bird. So I watched Lady Bird right after we did the review for last week's.
Is that your first time watching?
Yes, it was.
What'd you think?
I've been trying to watch all new movies for me. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it's one of my... more favorite movies of the past 5 years. Probably.
Yeah. I
mean, this is going to sound like it's not that big of a deal, but it is. It's probably in my top 50 in the past 5 years. So.
I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. I see like hundreds of movies a year. So.
Yeah.
What else? I don't know what that was. What else?
What else? The other one I watched was Ninth Gate, which I had seen bits and pieces of. I thought it was really good. It's got Johnny Depp, yeah. I really liked it for its more detective-y type movie, more than its more praise the devil demonic type. I want to raise him from hell type thing. I thought that was good. The next one that I watched was Magnolia, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, that's Paul Thomas Anderson's first or second feature film. I can't remember. It's one of his early ones, though, with John C. Reilly, Tom Cruise, Philip Seymour Hoffman, whole bunch of people.
Julianne Moore, a whole lot. There's a lot of people in that. I was really enjoying it, and then frogs fell out of the sky, and I was like, what?
That is really when it turns. I need to rewatch that. I've only seen it the one time, and I kind of had the same reaction where I was just like, what is going on? But like, I feel like I really enjoyed it for the most part, but I feel like it's a movie that grows on you when you know what to expect from it.
Same. It was. I was like, oh, this is like Crash, but Crash came after this, where like everybody's stories are kind of like connected in some way. And then the frogs thing happened. I'm like, okay, what's happening now? And then it was a good movie. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it overall. Yeah, and then
by far, it's Tom Cruise's best performance in my opinion. Like Tom Cruise is incredible in that. Like
he was hot as they. Oof.
Yeah, when he's
I gotta fan myself off.
I think he's saying goodbye to his dying father, but like Philip Seymour Hoffman's like his father's nurse in there, and he's reacting to Tom Cruise's monologue essentially, or a reaction. I can't remember the exact thing, but like essentially that was Philip Seymour Hoffman's actual reaction to Tom Cruise because he didn't know that Tom Cruise could act so well. And that's the thing about Tom Cruise. He's a good actor. He just chooses to do fun movies, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I would love to see him try to pick more complex roles.
Yeah, his really more dramatic roles are really, really good. And like, definitely wish he would do more of them. But so there was that. The next one was Forget Paris, which is Billy Crystal and Deborah Winger, like a romantic comedy. I thought it was good. But the problem with this movie is that like it was one of those movies where like it's telling a story from another person. So like this couple sitting down telling the story about this other couple, which is Billy Crystal and Deborah Winger's relationship. And like, if it didn't have that aspect, if it was just literally Billy Crystal and Deborah Winger's relationship instead of somebody telling the story of their relationship, this movie would have been 10 times better. 100 times, maybe.
Yeah, it sounds like
that's just me. It's a 90s movie. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Billy Crystal's obviously just a charmer, just a beautiful man. And Deborah Winger's just amazing in it, too. Other than that, it's a good movie. Kind of forgettable, though. And here's the other Scarlett Johansson movie, Under the Skin. Figured I'd finally watch this. A lot of people only watch this for one reason.
A pathetic reason, but also I get it.
I thought it was good. It was really, if you're not watching it for that reason specifically, it really kind of tells a solid story about like aliens like learning human like behavior and everything like that. And, like, it's actually really cool. Yeah. Besides just the obvious nude scene that a lot of people just watched it for. I thought it was good. After that, the next Scarlett Johansson movie, Marriage Story, which I thought was a phenomenal movie.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Because I had only watched that. Everybody knows that argument scene by now. Basically, it was all over the internet 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's really a showcase in some of like two of the best young actors of our time at the moment, and I'm glad that particular. I mean that part has been memed a little bit, but the actual, it's more screenshots. It's not so much like the actual scene, the downfall German Nazi Adolf Hitler redubbing or subtitling. So. But yeah, it's a really powerful scene.
Yeah, and then watching the movie with all the context of that scene, you're like, oh my god, these two are amazing.
It's so much more powerful when you know exactly what they've been through. And the thing I love most about Marriage Story is that it doesn't really pick a side. Like at first, it seems like more the guy's side because you kind of understand why he's confused that all this is happening. Then you kind of see that like, oh yeah, he is kind of unintentionally controlling, but controlling nonetheless. And like it goes back and forth between who you are rooting for, and then it kind of just swells into this crescendo that you're just like, I just want them to be able to co-parent together and be able to be able to be in the same room. It's really a beautiful movie about divorce, even though it's called Marriage Story.
So, it really is. So especially if you're like a child of divorce, it's really tough. Like watching this type of thing.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and then
I'm not a child of divorce. So.
Yeah, you're a very lucky man.
I'm sorry.
And then the last one I watched was Ben is Back with Julia Roberts and Lucas Hedges. I thought it was okay. You really, I don't know if you watched it or not. I don't want to spoil it for you in any way.
I don't think I have, but like I have vivid memories of it. But I think that's just from seeing the trailer so many times.
Yeah. It kind of goes this one way for the first half of the movie, and then it goes like a different way, and the second half of the movie is kind of just dumb.
Yeah.
And not how you expect it to go, but like not in a good way.
Definitely.
I thought it was okay. I love Julia Roberts. She's like she was like my childhood crush for so long. I was like, I love her. She's so pretty. Yeah, but okay, that was really it, to be honest. Other than Sister Brother, which I need to finish.
With you not being someone that watches a lot of movies all the time and having watched that many, me being someone who has watched a lot of movies all the time, how many do you think I've watched, including Mr. Right?
3.
You nailed it.
Boom.
Including Mr. Right, I watched 3, so I've only watched 2 other movies. This week, I kind of just, with being locked inside and not really being able to do anything but watch movies, I've kind of just been like, wanting to do other things, which is weird. It's fucking weird, and I don't know what to do.
So like we're going opposite directions.
Yeah. I imagine this will. I was just gonna say I imagine this will change, and I'll get back to watching movies.
Yeah.
But like I got a new smoker this weekend, and you know I've actually been spending time with my wife, which is unheard of. I'm kidding. But yeah, I've just been kind of like wanting to do other things and only watching movies like maybe one day a week. But I watched 2 foreign films. The first is a 1969 French film from director Jean-Pierre Melville called Army of Shadows. It's essentially like a espionage thriller about the French resistance during World War II. It's one of those like unheard stories. It's loosely based on truth. None of the characters are real people. From what I know, I could be incorrect. It's like a combination of real people. So like what happens in this happened but didn't happen, if that makes sense. And it's just a really well done, intense espionage thriller about the World War II and the French resistance, which is not something you really hear of much when you're an American citizen. Which is, it's really cool. I highly suggest Army of Shadows. And then I watched a Russian film by Andrei Tarkovsky, another Andrei Tarkovsky film, Ivan's Childhood, which is about, I want to say it's World War II. I don't think they ever really mention or show swastikas.
Yes, you kind of just assume.
I assume it's World War II because it's kind of somewhat based on Andrei Tarkovsky, his childhood of growing up in Russia during the war. I don't think he ever did anything like this, but it's essentially like this Russian kid who is being used by the Russian army. He's an orphan, so like there's no parents that are telling him to stop. He's being used by the Russian army to infiltrate the Germans. And it's really, really interesting and intense, beautifully shot. It's an Andrei Tarkovsky movie, so parts of it are slow moving, but I really enjoyed it, and I highly suggest it.
Okay.
But yeah, those are the 2 movies I watched, other than Mr. Right. I'm hoping I'll have more to talk about next week, but we're already at.
Hey, listen, you got that smoker. Minutes, I'd be smoking it up.
I haven't made anything yet. I just put it together, which didn't take that long. But like then I had to let it run for like 2 hours. But I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited for you, to be honest.
Yeah, that's once this is all over, I'll smoke some brisket for you.
Yes.
But that's it for the movies we watched today. Let's get into some news. Did you want to go first? You want me to?
I can go first. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. What's your news?
So with everybody knows at this point, the whole Tiger King Netflix documentary series is a thing. And now they are already in the works of creating a show for it, basically. A TV series, if you will. And so they're already eyeing up people, and I think they confirmed that they already now have one for specifically Joe Exotic. There's been a lot of theories of who it could be, or like who people wanted it to be, but now we know for sure that it is Nicolas Cage.
Honestly, I can't think of anyone else now. Like I never thought of him in the running, But he's the only person crazy enough.
Honestly, yeah. I'm very interested. I'm kind of over the Tiger King thing by now. Like, it was good, but now it's just like I'm kind of over it.
I even started watching that new episode where they kind of caught up with everyone, and I was just like, I don't really care. Like, I don't care how everyone's doing right now. I feel like they tried to make it a bigger thing than it was.
Yeah, it was a really good documentary series, but now it's just like, okay, I'm over it and I want to move on. But now we're getting a TV series from it. And honestly, I had people who, like, I was like, oh, maybe this person could play Joe Exotic. But Nick Cage, if they let him be crazy, he will be crazy.
Oh, yeah.
If they don't try to control him too much, it'll be hilarious. So I'm not going to lie, I'm a little excited for this. They're basically the same age too. I looked that up yesterday. I think Joe Exotic is 57 and Nick Cage is 56.
Yeah,
so it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I kind of wonder how that show would have done if it wasn't right at the beginning of so many people having a stay-at-home order.
Yeah,
like I still think it probably would have been popular, but not as popular.
Yeah, like
so quickly.
Like what was that? Making a Murderer or whatever. It was huge for a while.
Yeah,
I'm sure it would have been like that, but it kind of died off after like the second season came out.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like that's what's going to happen if they keep milking this series as long as they will.
They're going to milk
just going
it
to die out.
It's dry up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nicolas Cage as Joe Exotic in the Tiger King series. The news that I have is slightly better. Came out on I don't want to say better. Yeah, it's better. In my opinion, it's better.
It's better.
So on May the 4th, may the 4th be with you, it was announced that Taika Waititi is going to direct a new Star Wars film. There's not too many details about it yet, other than that it will be co-written between Taika Waititi and 1917 screenwriter Christy Wilson Cairns, who is a really talented writer, and I think she was nominated for an Oscar. Yeah, she was nominated for an Oscar. And honestly, this is probably the best news that could have come out for Star Wars in general. Star Wars, after Force Awakens and the excitement of that, it just has really only gone downhill from there. We got a little bit of a bump from the Mandalorian show, which he did direct one of the episodes of, which was cool. Two of the 4 episodes that are worth anything are directed by him. That's a 50-50 show where 50% of it is completely unnecessary and then 50% of it's really good. And I hope that they kind of keep it to a better ratio than that, because that middle part of the series was rough to get through. But yeah, Taika Waititi's directing a Star Wars film, and I believe you said that there's a lot of people angry about it because they're worried he's going to make a comedy out of it.
There's for sure a good handful of people that are kind of upset that he's doing it because just like Thor, with what happened with when like they were doing that, is Thor was really serious and then it turned into a comedy, which if anybody likes any of the Thors, they're going to like Ragnarok because it was hilarious and the best out of all of them. Like. Yeah. And same with Mace, or like for us at least, The Mandalorian. The last 2 episodes were probably one of the 2 of the best episodes, only because he brought the charm into it.
Oh yeah,
and
the thing that people don't realize
that they were more original.
Yeah, the thing that people don't realize about him is, yes, he's mainly known for comedy, but what he does better than anyone really is balance comedy and drama. Like Jojo Rabbit can have you laughing your ass off in 1 minute, and the very next minute, like you're crying. Like he handles the balance really well. So I'm confident that he'll do a good job.
Yeah, I think so too. It all mainly depends on the criteria that they want him to make. Like, I don't know what the hell they're going to make him create. Like, it could be anything.
Yeah, only time will tell.
Yeah, after Rise of the Skywalker, and I know they're doing the Obi-Wan series, so like he's probably not going to be a part of that. They're redoing the Mandalorian series. It's all fresh from here, so starting him off would be a nice fresh take for Star Wars.
Absolutely. So that does it for movie news. Let's jump into the review of Mr. Right.
Hi. Hey. Supposed to be in Milwaukee killing your husband.
So why are you here?
Murder's wrong, Sharon.
You're a hitman.
Nobody's perfect.
Was I cheating on you? Maybe.
I don't know how this keeps happening. Do I just suck? No! Am I just like, suckball, McGee? You're just a work in progress, babe. Oh. How'd you do that?
It's a lot of condoms.
Glenn,
Oh,
take it away.
all right, Mr. Right. Oh boy. Mr. Right. A girl falls for the perfect guy who happens to have a very fatal flaw. He's a hitman on the run from the crimes cartel who enjoy him. Yeah, not employ. Enjoy.
You were so close.
I was
so
really fucking close. Directed by Paco Cabezas, written by Max Landis, stars Anna Kendrick, Sam Rockwell, Tim Roth, Riz is in there, James Ransone, Anson Mount. There's a good amount of people in here. Where do we begin on this?
Well, I want to begin with what you told me, what you texted me while you were watching it. Which
I want to try to like text you more during these movies because I usually forget mid review.
It definitely helps us to talk about. But you text me, and I, in retrospect, actually, I had watched it before you text me, but I feel you might feel the same way. In retrospect, you texting me, "I'm so sorry," since this is your pick. Might have been an overreaction or at least an early reaction.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, this movie's not terrible, but the beginning is terrible.
The first easily 20 minutes is just bad.
Yeah, it's a really bad first 20 minutes. It does pick up,
Yeah.
I feel like it has a strong start with Sam Rockwell going and say, like, telling that woman that he's supposed to be killing her husband, but murder's wrong and he kills her instead to show that he's like a hypocrite and all that, and kind of give you an idea of his morals. But then immediately after that is this fight that is unnecessary. I don't want to say it's unnecessary, but it's too drawn out, and the intercuts between him and Tim Roth is kind of cringy.
Yeah.
Where Tim Roth.
I liked her. Oh, I liked her.
Yeah. It's
Who
really
shoots a cake. It was very, very weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. That's the best way to phrase it. It's weird. It's not bad. It's just weird. And then Anna Kendrick's introduction is completely bad, in my opinion. Like,
oh yeah,
it's just a terrible sequence with her finding out that her boyfriend's cheating on her, trying to have a three-way. She doesn't want to have a three-way, and then she's like in a closet crying. It's a very cringy first 20 minutes. And it felt forever. Like I was with you. I probably, if you text me while I was watching it in the first 20 minutes, I probably would have been like, yeah, what did you do? But it does get better.
Yeah, so like I'm trying to read like the messages like so I think the chemistry between Anna Kendrick and Sam Rockwell was good. Like it was fun. They kind of like terribly wrote out a lot of things in this movie, but I think for sure Anna Kendrick's character was one of the worst things they did, because she didn't really have a personality. She was kind of just like, I do things, I think for myself, I do fun things, and just like just the things everyone would say, and just the writing in this movie period was terrible.
Yeah,
like if I swear to God, if they changed the writing, this movie would be solid. Like, could actually be solid.
Which is interesting, because Max Landis is a pretty, I don't want to say he's a good writer, but he's done, I feel like he's done better. Or maybe I'm thinking of his dad. I might be thinking of his dad.
I think you're thinking of his dad, because I don't think what he's done.
Yeah, I'm looking at his filmography. It's not that great. But I can't remember what his dad's name is. Something Landis.
Oh, wait, was this...
John Landis. John Landis is a pretty big producer and director. He's he's directed the Blues Brothers. He directed
yeah, this is exactly what I'm thinking of. Cool. Yeah. Continue.
Yeah, he's directed a lot of stuff. Trading Places. He's a lot of good '80s comedies. Animal House he directed. An American Werewolf in London, which is just a great movie. It's not like even a comedy. It's kind of a comedy, but it's a great horror movie. And I just feel like, I mean, I don't want to say Max Landis is a bad writer, but he's not a strong writer. He has good ideas, but doesn't know how to execute them. At least in how his scripts are translated into film. There could be like a whole bunch of changes, and his scripts could be better than what's actually shot. But, too many directors change what he does to something that's just not that strong.
So the story that I have is, I don't know how many years ago. This might be like 5 or 6 years ago. Max Landis and Kevin Smith were like guest stars on a YouTube series on Screen Junkies, where they basically like have to come in and debate like certain things, like certain topics of like, oh, what their choice is for like, oh, certain topic, like, oh, what the best movie of all time, or like just random topics. And like Kevin Smith was like kind of complimenting Max Landis on how like his like father made like these great films in history, and Max Landis you could clearly see him getting pissed off because he clearly thinks his own writing is better than his father's, and hates that like everybody compares him and his father at all together.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely get that, but like you have to acknowledge the talent of his father. Like if John Landis was my father, I'd have to acknowledge that. But
like it just seemed like he was throwing like a temper tantrum in the series, though.
Ooh, yeah, that's rough. And Kevin Smith, I know he. Despite what anyone thinks of Kevin Smith, I feel like he's a genuinely good dude, and just sometimes, he says what he's thinking without thinking of how someone might react to it.
Yeah.
And never means to be malicious. I feel like he's had too many people be mean to him, where he's just he would never want to do that to someone else. And of course, I'm speculating. I don't know him personally. That's just how I read him.
Just seems what it seems to be.
Yeah, so like I could see him like actually thinking that this would compliment him, which it kind of should have. Like thank you very much. He is a talented guy, but I think I remember that video a little bit, and I hope Max never hears this because I don't want to be mean, but I feel like Max has a long way to go to be his like same level of his father.
I mean, he's got good stuff. It's just this one specifically that we're talking about is just horrific. And if the writing specifically in this movie was changed, I think this would be a much better movie altogether.
I agree.
But anyway, moving from Max Landis for sure.
Yeah. I do think that it was really well cast. I think all the actors play well off of each other. When the dialogue is good, it is good, and they perform it well. But like I said, it just takes a good 20-30 minutes to actually get moving. And up until then, it really made me want to turn it off. I'm glad I didn't, because there are some funny parts. The dynamic between RZA and Sam Rockwell is by far my favorite part of the entire film.
I was going to say, for sure for me, RZA was the best part of the movie.
Oh, yeah. RZA plays... you should have watched this if you're listening to this, but if you haven't, RZA plays this guy who's hired to go on like this ambush of Sam Rockwell's character, and they the people who hired him give him like this shitty shotgun, and the shotgun like backfires and everything, and they just have this really funny exchange where you can just tell like they're just like, I don't want to do this, it's just, it is what it is. There's between them it's nothing personal, and they actually like become friends towards the end. It's really funny. I really enjoyed that part.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Why did they even give him the shotgun in the first place? Like, they didn't want him to have anything else but the shotgun.
That's the thing. That is where it becomes weak. Granted, it could have been in a deleted scene, but I feel like Max Landis does this a lot, where he never acknowledges things that seem like they should be acknowledged. Like, why did they give him a super old shotgun when they had it just seems like he wrote it in to be a joke, but there's no reason for that joke.
Yeah, they had him grab a double barrel shotgun. It backfired, and then when later in the movie, like he'll be like, "You had an M16 automatic with laser sights sitting here, and you gave me an Elmer Fudd shotgun.
Yeah, and it's something that could have been just simple, like where they're just like, you know, and honestly, I thought this is where they're going with it, where they're just like, he can dodge bullets, which is ludicrous, but he can in the movie. Like, he can dodge bullets. We're trying to like widen the spread so it's harder for him to dodge, and it's just never even mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't dodge it, but it was not even mentioned that that was a plan.
A big thing that bothered me about this, which it's not just with this movie, it's with a lot of violent comedies. No one ever seems to be affected by the violence they're doing. Like, Anna Kendrick just kills a guy and is just completely fine with it.
Kills like 2 guys.
And I'm not saying she should regret it, but like that, it would scar someone if it was their first person. Yeah, or their first time to kill someone. For sure.
The only thing that I saw from it is now she's kind of like murder hungry, and that's all that happened. She just got murder hungry because her boyfriend's a hitman.
And I know it's like absurd, and again, it's not exclusive to this movie, but I would like there to be some form of change and not just like, oh yeah, I love killing people, because, you know, while she is depicted as crazy, she also, when she first sees Sam Rockwell kill someone, she's deeply affected by it, and it's not just fear. It's just like, how could you do it? Like, it's a moralistic thing. So suddenly she's immoral after she kills one guy. It just doesn't play well, in my opinion. I feel like it could have been a lot better.
With Sam Rockwell dodging bullets, I think Anna Kendrick took the blue pill in this movie for sure. Because she dodged a bullet, and she just started catching knives right off the bat. Like, she just catching knives because, you know,
after freaking out
the current. The current.
Which is essentially midichlorians, but for the real world.
Yeah,
apparently.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I don't think this movie's great. I think it definitely picked up. I did laugh at it at some parts, but I think it's just too cringy for the most part, where it's not my thing. I understand why people do enjoy it, because we had a lot of people liking it. Got a few comments on our Instagram post about it. Let's see. So Jennifer Wilson said, "Love this flick, but I'm obsessed with Sam Rockwell and think Kendrick is so precious. I rewatched the beginning elevator scene religiously." Sonia said, "This movie is actually really cool. Sam Rockwell is firing it." And Movie Gag seems to agree with us, where it's just an okay movie. Clearly it's mixed bag.
It's got its audience. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to like bash it. People like bad romantic comedies. This is for sure one of them. At one point, I sent you a message saying, "Did they really have to like stab people in the ass and the bottom of the foot? Like not like in the ass, like the tailbone, like the most uncomfortable things that they would film. Like Sam Rockwell would stab a dude in the tailbone when the dude's bent over, and then stab a guy in the bottom of the foot. I'm just like, did I need to see that? Why can't you just stab him like a normal person? Ow!
Because that wouldn't be funny."
And then, that wouldn't be funny. It just made me cringe.
Yeah.
And then my other highlight of the movie was when Sam Rockwell walks away from Tim Roth at the end of the movie, and Tim Roth is just like, and I'm sorry if this offends anybody, but this is just a quote from the movie, lying on the ground, "Turn around, you daft cunt." Just like, who says that? Yeah. Nobody says that. That's one of the things that made me laugh. But like I was saying, these particular movies have like an audience, and like we weren't that audience, and I think it could have been improved a lot, and it could have been an actual solid movie as far as like not the target audience is. That makes sense.
It definitely it felt a lot like Shane Black, who did like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, The Nice Guys. Kind of, it felt like it was going for that, but just kind of fell short for the most part.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see Shane Black, take Mac Landis's script and kind of give it a run over.
Actually.
And maybe I don't think Paco Cabezas did a bad job directing. I just think
I don't think the material
was there.
What he worked with was what you can see.
And if Max Landis ever listens to this. I like you, Max Landis.
Yeah, I'm not really not trying to talk shit on him as hard as I am. But
I have no qualms with Max Landis. I just think he has a lot of strong ideas and just doesn't execute them quite as well as they could be done. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I got to say about this movie.
Same.
Yeah. So that brings us to the judgment. Glenjamin Bunn, because this is your choice, will Mr. Right be a shelf boy?
Honestly, I'm thinking about it for a good while, man. This shelf boy is looking like it's not going to be a shelf boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know what you're saying. Like we said, like this, there's definitely an audience for this. I'm not mad I watched this. I'm not mad that this movie exists.
Yeah.
There's very few movies that I am mad that they exist. It's just, it's a entertaining 90 minutes. Well, entertaining 60 minutes after an unentertaining 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then, I overall enjoyed myself, but it's just not, not really worth mentioning ever again.
There's worse movies out there than this. This movie had funny moments, but I didn't feel like I wasted my time completely watching it.
Definitely. So Mr. Right does not make it onto the shelf and become a glorious shelf boy with all the rest, like Kung Fu Hustle and Apostle. Why can I only ever remember Apostle?
I don't know, you literally only remember Apostle.
But yeah, Mr. Right's just not a shelf boy. That brings us to our plugs for this week. Glenn, again, your episode, your plugs first.
So, I don't know how many people game out there in the real world besides me. I know Mike doesn't. But Mortal Kombat 11 just announced like a DLC story, which is awesome because that's not what you really expect from a DLC from Mortal Kombat or any fighting game. Mm-hmm. But they announced 3 new characters, and one of them is RoboCop, and that is my plug. Is the trailer for the new DLC Aftermath. It's kind of like a time heist campaign, it looks like, and they even got Peter Weller to voice his guy, his character, RoboCop. So that is my plug there. Technically, it's called Aftermath, but it's definitely a time heist.
So my plug for this week, everyone being locked in, a lot of people are missing theater and plays and musicals and stuff like that. National Theater, I believe it's the United Kingdom National Theater, has put the entirety of both versions of their Frankenstein show with Benedict Cumberbatch and Johnny Lee Miller swapping between the Doctor and the monster. So my plug for this week will be both of those versions. One is obviously with Benedict Cumberbatch as Frankenstein's monster, and the other one is Johnny Lee Miller as Frankenstein's monster. Which one I suggest? Honestly, and this is not a dig at Johnny Lee Miller, it's just Benedict Cumberbatch is so great. He's better as both the monster and the Doctor. So watch both of them. You'll kind of see, the dynamics change if you can. I mean, that's a long time. But so that is Frankenstein on National Theater's YouTube channel. That's theater, that is TRE, not TER.
I have beaten death. I made a living thing.
Benedict Cumberbatch and Johnny Lee Miller in this electrifying stage production.
I will not rest until I desolate your hearts!
Frankenstein, directed by Danny Boyle.
Did I say Instagram? Because I meant YouTube. I don't know what I said.
I don't know what you said either, but now I'm confused.
Frankenstein on YouTube, National Theater. Both shows are great. So that's my plug.
All right.
So with that being all said and done, that brings us to our assignment for next week. Glenn, we have finally a system for Netflix Roulette. I don't know if that's going to be anything good, but we are going to pick the best out of these 3 spins to be our next week's assignment. Are you ready?
I am ready, Mike.
So I'm going to spin it 3 times. This is the first spin. Too Young the Hero, a 1988 film Let's see. I'm going to look it up on the IMDb's. That's TOO, Young the Hero. It is
it's a war drama.
A war drama with no one really of note that I can tell.
It's got pretty good rating.
Yeah, I'll just read the synopsis real quick. It's got a 6.9 out of 10 rating. It's the true story of Calvin Graham, who at a young age of 12, but looking quite a lot older, succeeded in joining the Navy during World War II. It goes on a little bit longer, but I'm only going to read that part. So, Too Young the Hero, that's our first spin.
Okay.
Our second spin, that's a comedy special, so skipping that one. That is a comedy special, so skipping that one.
That's cheating.
We can't watch comedy specials. This is a movie review. It's a movie review.
Oh, okay. Stand up.
Yeah. So, yeah, like an actual stand-up comedy special. So this is a documentary called The Untold Tales of Armistead Maupin.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's a documentary.
Okay. Also has good reviews.
And that is a documentary about the untold story of Armistead Maupin, is in the synopsis, celebrates one of the world's most beloved storytellers who, following his evolution from a conservative son of the Old South into a gay rights pioneer whose novels inspired millions to reclaim their lives. That actually sounds very interesting. So, very big possibility, but we have one spin left to go. And it's a movie I've definitely seen. And honestly,
if it's one you've seen, you might as well skip it.
I'll just say what it is, because it is 2008's Will Smith film Hancock.
Oh yeah, we're skipping it.
Hancock is a down and out. Do you want me to spin again or just not?
Well, actually, that's probably a bad idea to just skip something we've seen, because then it could come up for a good review. But I think with the other two, that's a tough call.
That is a tough call. We actually got 3 pretty good spins. Ooh, how do we decide here?
I don't know.
All right, I am going to.
Hancock will definitely appease more people's ears for us to talk about,
and it will have a wider audience.
Yeah,
is that the smart choice?
It's the smart choice, but do the other two actually interest us enough to want to review?
I don't want to say enough to review.
Yeah, true. I worded that poorly.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in watching them.
Yeah.
But I think for the sake of the podcast, we should do Hancock.
Okay. Hancock. Hancock it is.
I do public relations. People don't like you, Hancock.
But I look like I care what people think.
Right now, there's a DA trying to figure out how to come up here and put you in jail. I say you go.
He's not gonna go.
People take you for granted, you know? We gotta make people miss you.
If you don't move, your head is going up his.
Jail watch day 5 and crime is still on the rise.
You got a phone call. It's the chief of police. He says he needs your help.
Hancock.
How did that happen?
Netflix Roulette. Netflix Roulette has not been kind to us, and probably will continue to not be kind to us. We got The King out of that, which is good, I guess. But So, Hancock, directed by Peter Berg, written by Vi Vincent No and Vince Gilligan. Really? Vince Gilligan wrote Hancock. Okay. That's different.
Very interesting.
It stars Will Smith, Charlize Theron, Jason Bateman, and Eddie Marsan. It is about Hancock is a superhero whose ill-considered behavior regularly causes damage in the millions. He changes when the person he saves helps him improve his public image. This is a 2008 film. I have definitely seen it. Saw it in theaters in 2008. I don't recall hating it or loving it, so I was pretty in the middle about it. I'm actually very interested to see that Vince Gilligan helped write it.
Yeah, that's a whole new set of eyes on this film now.
Yeah, definitely. So that is Hancock on Netflix. Netflix sponsor us. We're doing a whole roulette thing, and you've really screwed us over. So the least you could do is throw us like $5 a month. That'd be great.
At least, please.
Or at least give our subscriptions free. Hancock on Netflix. That is our next week's assignment. As always, you can check out our website, KeystoneFilmReview.com, on Instagram, Keystone_Film_Review, Twitter, Keystone_Film, Facebook, Keystone Film Review, on Letterboxd. I'm Mike KFR.
And I am Glenn KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we watch Will Smith be a drunken superhero in Hancock. And I had a history teacher named Hancock who photoshopped his face onto that poster. That's
interesting.
Big memory for me.
Let's watch Drunk Superman together.
Drunk Superman. Bye, everybody.
Bye.